If you're wanting to save literally hundreds of hours wasted time looking at theory, you just want to play the Sicilian as white and get a game, and it's not a Muppet opening because Karpov played it all his life, then this Karpov Sicilian system could be for you. What you're going to get in this video is a system that you can play against the vast majority of Sicilian openings as white. You're going to get the plans and ideas, you're going to get a key game from Karpov, and by the end of the video, you're going to be able to play this immediately. So what's the big idea with Bishop E2? It avoids tons and tons of theory, and the bishop is very, very flexible on E2. For example, it could go to F3 or C4 to support the key square D5. Usually bishop F3 after F4. White's going to castle kingside in the vast majority of cases and look to get in F4. Black plays slowly, even early G4, G5 ideas as possible, and just smash black early out the opening. As you can see from the perfect example game I'm about to show you, white can exploit the weak B6 squares, as well as the usual D5 and F5 squares. As you will see, Karpov often tucks the king away, prophylactic style onto H1, to avoid any danger. This is especially the case if you're wanting to play that F4 pawn push. Right, that's the intro, the plans and ideas in 1 minute, 16 seconds. How am I doing? Let's look at that key Karpov game. I'll just go back to the start in case anybody wants to see the opening moves before bishop E2. So this can also be played against many other Sicilians, like I said, so E6, same thing, many other different versions, but we're just going to look at the main Najdorf variation. So where would you move the knight to now? Having just thought about those plans and ideas, would you go to F3? Would you go to B3? What would you do? You said B3, well done. B3 because we want to play F4, and we can't play F4 if the knight's on F3. So well done. Knight B3. I think as well maybe Karpov wants to do this, make this as a weak square, so the knight makes sense to sort of guard A4 on that position A5. Bishop E7, pretty normal. Castle kingside. Bishop E6, perhaps covering that D5 square, right? White knight wants to whack that knight on D5. Maybe play bishop C4, knight D5. So bishop E6 sort of discourages that really. And F4 straight away. Queen C7. And then we go this plan again, A4, some point A5. Next up comes Karpov's signature move. Do you know what Karpov's signature move is? What I call his signature move. It's this one. King H1. Prophylactic move, just puts the king out of danger, keeps the tension in the centre. That's Karpov's signature move for me. Alright, there's a move coming up in a minute, which if you're an amateur chess player like me, I absolutely love. You just win games by playing moves like this. Obviously, Karpov's opponent's not going to fall for this sort of move, but amateur players do all the time. Let's have a look. Black castles, bishop E3, remaining flexible. And I do like how Karpov just develops pieces, doesn't sort of look to get rid of the tension in the centre. Takes, rook takes, knight comes in. I'm going to race through these moves. The move's coming up in a minute. And it's this one. It's a top-class professional grandmaster move, but the threat in the position is what a lot of amateur players will just lose to instantly. And why is this so good? Why do I like this move so much? Why am I moving around in my chair? Because of this queen G1, which looks like really weird at first, but the threat in the position, well done if you spotted it, it's just knight takes bishop, pawn takes is forced, and then bishop coming to that weak B6 square, winning the exchange. Opponents see it, but you still keep playing, and it's still a good move anyway. Obviously, Karpov's played that move knowing his opponent's going to see that threat, but also, what we have here, weak B6 square. So we're now right in the middle game, and it's all about who's got the best skill. Who's got the best skill? Who's got the best strategy? You or your opponent. It's not about opening theory at this stage. We've got a playable game, and it's a clash of wills. So I'm going to quickly flick through the rest of this game, but just notice how Karpov takes advantage of the D5 square, the F5 square, and the weak B6 square, and pushes home that advantage. And I like how all the moves are natural, logical. Rook D1, X-raying probably the weak D5 square, natural looking moves. Knight goes to F5, there we go. Can't stand there for very much longer, otherwise white will have a massive attack on the king side. Flicking over these pretty quickly, as promised. Takes the bishop, queens come off the board, doesn't matter. This is quite interesting. Bishop to F3. as I mentioned in the plans and ideas, supporting the centre e4 pawn, which in turn supports the d5 square. These a little. And nothing moves for black. And we've got the knight on d5, which cannot stay there for much longer. So the rook gets replaced onto d5, occupying d-square, hitting this pawn. And the finish here is really instructive. Beat b6. And these pawns are getting pushed home. These 3 pawns here against these 2 pawns is just where Karpov's going to win the game very, very shortly. Now we have 2-on-1. Now it's an easy win. And what has Karpov done, really? Not much. And it's goodbye Vienna because black can do that. Then the flexible bishop, which has been sat on e2 at the end of the game as well, which is quite nice, comes to this square, and then black can do nothing about rook a2 and resigns. And there you go, Karpov's Sicilian system. But if you're looking for a calculation system that's effective and efficient to use, it's very easy. Just click on that one.